Hello everyone and welcome back to another video movie review by EonTalk. In this video, I'll be reviewing the crime/thriller, Beasts Clawing at Straws. But before going into the review, I'd just like to thank all the Patreons supporting me on Patreon. If you love the content I create and would like to show me your support, head over to the EonTalk Patreon, link in the description, and your pledge would mean so much to me. Some perks include early access to videos and content, community chat, exclusive content, shoutouts, and more. Now then, let's get into today's review of Beasts Clawing at Straws. Beasts Clawing at Straws has a stunning cast of Do-Yeon, Jung-Sung, Bae-Sung-woo, Yoon, Man-Sik, Kyung, Hyun-Bin, and Jung. Definitely one of the biggest lineups thus far in 2020. The movie was directed by Kim Yong-hoon, and I believe this is his feature film debut as I couldn't find any other movies directed by him. Beasts Clawing at Straws is categorized as a crime and thriller, but I believe it'd be more appropriate to label it as comedy, as it had much more comedic elements than suspense, but I'll get into this later. The film was similar to the 2017 film Real in that it was divided into quote-unquote chapters. Not saying this movie was similar to Real on other terms though, as Real was a pretty bad movie. Anyways, let's first take a look at the synopsis of Beasts Clawing at Straws. It all started with a single bag of money. After his girlfriend leaves him, Tae-young suffers from a major private loan debt that he needs to pay back. Jong-man, the head of the household, takes on a part-time job to provide for his family. Yeon-hee wants to erase the past and start a new life. And Mi-ran, the wife of an abusive husband, is suffering from many life problems. To these four individuals living in rock bottom, an opportunity presents itself in the form of a bag full of cash. In order to obtain and maintain the bag, numerous unforeseen incidents begin. The biggest good part about the movie was its ability to make you constantly speculate. While watching the film, I found myself continuously thinking, what if I was in that position? What would I do? And it also keeps you wondering where the story is going. As mentioned in the synopsis, there are 4 different sides to the story, and you find yourself asking how it'll all connect. Going a little deeper into the story, I'll give a little more details without giving too much in order to refrain from giving spoilers. Basically, there are 4 sides. Side A is a person that finds the bag of money. This person lives a very hard life, having to take care of his mother with Alzheimer's while also balancing his work. Side B is an individual that has a huge debt that he needs to pay back. The people this individual borrowed the money from continuously come and threaten in order to get their money back. Side C is a person that lives in a very abusive house, so much so that the person tries to get the spouse killed. And finally, Side D is a boss that gets a huge sum of money and does whatever necessary to hold it. The movie shows and gives background stories of these 4 sides and gets the audience to understand and empathize with each of these characters. As this continues, you start to wonder how these characters and stories will intertwine, which is where the enjoyability of the movie is rooted. Furthermore, another positive of the movie is that it had an amazing cast. The main cast lineup was full of A-list actors, and what do you get with a lineup of A-list actors? Class A acting. There isn't much negative to say about the acting performances, as they really show why they are in the positions they are in terms of acting. Lastly, the movie was full of funny scenes. With its frequent humor, especially from the combo of Jung-Sung and Park Ji-won, the film keeps your attention with the comedy it has. The chemistry between those 2 actors was great. Moving along to the bad parts about Beasts Clawing at Straws, the biggest negative of the film was that it lacks identity. Let me explain. The movie has absolutely no thrill or suspense up until chapter 4. Until then, it's all comedy. However, this doesn't mean the movie turns into a full-out thriller after chapter 4 either. After chapter 4, the suspense definitely does pick up, but it isn't anything that'll keep your heart rate going. It gets really confusing and has lots of WTF moments, and the story eventually starts falling apart. The way the 4 sides of the characters/stories connect is interesting, but it feels way too forced. Maybe because you constantly think about how the story will unfold throughout the movie and have a design of the connection in your head formed already, when the connection is shown, I found it to not be fully satisfying. Also, I couldn't stop but to feel like I've seen the movie before. Of course, I hadn't, but it just felt like I knew the story and have seen it somewhere before. The movie wasn't really predictable per se, but it doesn't really go beyond your expectations. The trailers of Beasts Clawing at Straws were sort of misleading as the trailers made it seem like it was more of a thriller, but in reality it's more of a comedy than a thriller. After watching, you think, what was the point of that movie? I guess the point was that everything is connected and what goes around comes around. Either way, although the movie was a pretty entertaining ride, it loses its identity and the story isn't anything out of this world. I recommend going into this movie without so much of a high expectation, which is hard to do considering the cast, but if you don't have very high standards for the film, I think you'll have an enjoyable time. I mean, I did very much enjoy the movie, even with all the flaws it had. I'll give Bees Clawing at Straws a ticket price value of $11. That concludes today's review of Bees Clawing at Straws. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to show me your support. If you love my work, your support on Patreon would be very much appreciated. Thank you to everyone that watched till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.